So picture this, I've come up to you and I've asked you, who are you? And of course, the most common response would be to reply with your name or be defensive. But that's not what I'm asking. I'm trying to explore who you actually are. What makes you different from everybody else? What makes you an individual? Are you you because of your genetics or your environment? Or are you you because of your mind or your spirit? How much of you can we change until you are no longer you? One of the oldest philosophical ideas, nature versus nurture. Are we who we are because of environmental variables that impact our everyday lives, including our early childhood, how we were brought up, our culture, and our social interactions? I like the example of if you was taught that an apple was called a pear, you would spend your whole life believing that. Or are we a product of our innate programming? Do our genetics determine our behavior and personality traits? Is our human nature the core substance that fuels our being? As something physical, like your eye color or how tall you are, is evidently the result of biological nature, how far does this nature extend to? What even makes a person a person? John Locke, an English philosopher, says that a thinking, intelligent being that has reflection and reason and can consider itself as itself in different times and places. So you are a person because you can think of yourself in the past, present, and the future. As human beings, we have the tendency to think of our personhood as something that is concrete and tangible, something that exists out there in the world and throughout time. It is possible that in fact our personhood is nothing more than a product of our own minds, merely a convenient concept that enables us to relate our present self with our past and future selves. According to Buddha, the failure to recognize the illusion of the self is the source of all ignorance and unhappiness. It is by dropping his ego defenses and committing metaphorical suicide that a person can open up to different modes of being and relating and become a pure essence of humanity. The mind-body problem. The problem of consciousness is the question of how mental experiences arise from a physical entity. How are mental states, beliefs, and thinking related to our physical state and our bodily functions and external events? So I thought I would conduct a survey of my family to the question, who are you, what makes you a person, and what makes you an individual? So Amari, 7 years old, says that I am a boy and that I am different to my friends, that I am on earth and that I can ride my bike. Romeo, 18 years old, my personality, my name, my physical body, and my memories. Also, friends and family can observe that I exist and remember me in memory. My mum, love, genes, spirituality, and that she is more than her body, which is a shell. And my dad, his personality, his charisma, his sense of life, his beliefs, his culture, and his genes. So we can understand that everybody has a different idea of what makes a person themselves. So usually, a common question of who are you links to what is your purpose. So these are just some questions that you can reflect on. What do you think as a being you are here to do? Do you think that there is meaning to your life? Or are you just another being who is born and then dies and then there's just time? Is the idea of reincarnation real? Does your spirit have lessons to learn to reach enlightenment? Is there a higher being such as God who made you who you are in his image? And is there life after death? So something important to the topic of who you are is your perception. There are known things and there are unknown things. And in between are the doors of perception. Aldous Huxley. Perception is a remarkable phenomenon because it equates to the sum of your conditioning. Do you have the same morals and values as you did 5 years ago? Does that mean you are still you? Perception from a rich and poor person would be contrastingly different. Yet, at a fundamental level, we are all just people, and we were born and then we will die. But if you were poor and tomorrow you made millions, you would still be you, but your perception of who you are would change because our perception is based on our mind constructed model of the world. So because you now have money, you feel more significant, which is a worldly idea. So after perception, there is observation. So this thought links to Schrodinger's cat, as when I was a kid, I found it fascinating that whilst I was at home living my own life, my cousins were also there living their own lives, even though I wasn't there to witness it, as if I was the main character of a story. So linking it back to the cat, there's a cat in a box with either poison or gunpowder, and it has a 50-50 chance of being alive or dead when we open that box. But the idea is that the cat is both dead and alive at the same time until we open that box and observe the actual result. So do we exist because there is someone to acknowledge that we exist? Or would we exist even if no one else knew we existed? So moving on to the act. Many of us try to impress others because of social acceptance and pressure. We know in our heart of hearts that we are faking this personality or this emotion just to fit in, which leads us to do things we don't actually want to do and indulge in things that we don't actually care about. Almost like ticking off this box to be popular or be accepted, even though it makes us unhappy. We always want more social gratification, to get attention and be important. Apps are spending more and more time trying to get you to spend your time on their app for longer, which leads you to see people that you want to be like. You want their lifestyle, you want to be like them. You start to feel jealous and envious. Or we start an idea that we are passionate about, but we easily sway because now we are doing things merely because they are popular or they are trending. Sometimes you just need to take a step back and take off the mask and realize that it's okay to be you, whoever you are. Thank you for listening. I hope you was able to gain some sort of value from this video. And anyway, in a bit.